Hello, welcome to my channel. In today's video, we are going to create an application that allows the user to upload a QR code image, and then the application will decode that image and give back the results. So it processes the uploaded image, decodes that QR code and displays the results. So that is what we are going to build. So let's see how it works. This is our application. First, it allows the user to upload a QR code image. So choose a file, and then here is our file that I want to upload. There's a QR code, and then say click on upload, and you can see the content behind that QR code. Okay, so that is the content. You can upload another one. So basically this is what we are going to build. Without further ado, let's get started. So before we get started, please I ask you kindly consider subscribing and giving a thumbs up to this video so that this channel can grow and reach many people. So thank you. Let's dive in. So we are going to set this project from the scratch, whereby we'll be creating and installing the required dependencies from scratch. So let's dive in. So the first thing that we need to do is to create virtual environments. So that is the first step of creating a Django project. So it's to create virtual environment. To create a virtual environment, so to create a virtual environment, I'm going to use virtual env.env is a virtual environment name. Then hit enter. It has been created. Now the next step is to activate that virtual environment. So I'll say source.env bin activate. It has been activated. You can see here it has been activated. And then the next part is to install the dependencies. So I'll say pip install Django. Give it a few seconds to install. Once it has installed, since our application is using images, so we need to use a pillow to process our images. So we need to say pip install pillow. Give it a few seconds to install. Once pillow has installed, we also need a library to decode our image. So we are going to use Pfizer. So to use Pfizer, we need to install it. So pip install Pfizer. So this is the library that we want to install. It will help us decode our images. Okay. So since we have installed the dependencies required for this project, we need to create now the project. So we'll say Django admin start project QR decoder. So that is our project, and now we need to change directory to our project. So cd QR coder. Now let's clear. Okay, now we have our project right here. Okay, now we need to create an app. Let's call that app scanner. So we'll say start Django admin start app scanner. Okay, now we have the scanner inside our project. We need to go to our settings, and inside our installed app list, we need to add this newly created app. So we'll say scanner, and then we need to configure our templates. So go to template lists, and here dias, that means directories. So we need to configure templates. It's basically telling Django where to find our templates. So we need to do that. Here we need to get our templates at base directory, at a folder called templates, and then we come here inside our base directory, that's a root project directory. We need to create that folder called templates, so small letters templates. And then since we are using images, we need to configure media URL and static URL. So let's try to let's configure a media URL and media root. So we'll say media URL, not root URL, equals to let me call it media. And then we need to configure static files directories. So we say static files directories equals to, it's a list, say the base directory, and then on a folder called static. Okay, we need to create this static folder at our base directory, which is the root of the project. So we say static, and then we need to configure the static root. So say static root equals to base directory, and then we want it to be in a file called static files. Now let's configure media root. So media root equals to base directory, and then we want this media root to be inside our static file. So we say say static folder, I mean, so static, small letters, so static, and then media. So the uploaded images will be inside static and inside media directory. So we need to add these URLs to our project URLs. So go to project URLs. We need to import this configuration. So from Django.conf, import settings, and then we need to import statics. So from Django.conf.urls.static, import static. Now we need to go here and say if settings.debug, if settings, okay, this should be settings.debug. We need to have URL patterns like that and say static. We are configuring media root. Okay, so we say settings.static URL. So URLs equals to static settings.url, and now we need to define the document root. So the document root will be, say, document root equals to settings dot media root. Okay, so I've made a mistake here. It should be media URL because we are configuring media URLs, the uploaded images. We want Django to find the location of the uploaded images. That is why we are adding this and then defining media root, since we pointed our media root to be here. So moving on, now we get into creating this application. So we need to have a way to store the images and then the decoded content. Okay, so inside our app, let's go to models. Inside our models, we'll define the models here. So let's say class QR code, which inherits from models.model, and then we need to have the image since we are uploading the image. So image equals to models.image field, and then you need to define where it will upload to. So upload to equals to, say, QR code, and then now we need to store the content. So content equals to models dot text field, and then let's have another one, say date uploaded equals to models dot date time field, and say auto now add equals to true. Now we need to return the string. So we'll say div string serve, and then now return, we need to return the content. So return self.content, say if self.content, and say else no content. So once we do this, we need to register these model inside our admin.py. So here you can say from .models import QR code, and then say admin.site.register, then supplying with a model QR code. Once we do this, now we need to make migrations. So let's clear and say python manage.py make migrations, and now we need to migrate those migrations that we have staged. So python manage.py migrate. So once we have done that, now we need to create a form because we are going to upload the image. So we have to create a form that helps the user to upload the image. So inside our app called scanner, let's create another file called forms.py, and then we need to import forms from Django. So from Django import forms, and then we need to import the model. So from .models import QR code, that is our model. And now let's create a form. So say class QR code form, and then it inherits from forms.model form, and then now we need to define our class meta. So class meta. Now let's specify our model. So say model equals to QR code. Let's define the field that we want to use. So field equals to, we only need image field. Okay, so image we have done with our form. So this is our form. Now we need to create a function that will help us decode this QR code image that has been uploaded. So inside our scanner app, we need to create another file called utils.py. So utils.py, here we are going to create a scanner that will use PySbar library to decode the QR code. Okay, so to create that, we need to import the required libraries. So we need to encode, say, from PySbar import decode, and then we need to import image from Pillow. So to import that, you need to say from pil import image. This will help us process the image, and then let's create that function that will help decode our QR code. So let's call it decode QR code, and then it takes in the request. Here now we need to use try and accept block. So we'll say try, let me pass for now, and then accept exception as exception as I want to print that exception, so say print, let me format it, say format, and say something like error while decoding, and then pass in the string, the format, and say string Now let's create that function to decode. Inside our try block, we need to have an image. First we need the image to be opened and then decoded. Okay, we need to pass in here, let me remove request and say image path, okay, because that is what we want to decode. So here we'll say image img equals to image dot open, and then we pass in the image path, and then now let's decode this and say decoded objects equals to decode the image. So we have opened the image and now we have decoded that image, and now we need to return the results. So we need to check if there is a decoded object. So if decoded objects, then we need to return the results. So we need to get the first results. So return decoded objects. We need to get the first result dot data dot decode, and then we pass in the format, say UTF-8, and then if there is no decoded objects, we need to return something, return no QR code detected. So basically this function will help us decode the QR code image. You can see first we have to open that image that has been uploaded and decode that image, and then check if there is a decoded objects in that image, and if there is, we return the first objects that have been decoded, and then if there is no decoded objects, we return this no QR code detected, and if there is an issue, we accept those issues as and then print those issues in our terminal. So once we do that, now we need to create a views that will help our user to upload that image. So let's go to views. Here we need to create a function that will help the user upload that image and get the results. So here we need also to import a few things. We need to import a QR code model. So we say from .models import QR code, that was our model. We also need to import that function that it decodes this function decode QR code. So we'll say from .utils import decode QR code, and we also need to import the form. So from .forms import QR code form. So QR code form, this one. So once we import this, we need to create that function that will help our user upload a QR code image. So we'll call that function upload QR code, and then it takes in the request. Now let us specify our form. So we'll say form equals to, not from, it is form equals to QR code form, and then it takes in the request. It uses the post method. So post request.post. Since we are uploading files, we also need to pass in these request.files. Since we are not transferring only the data, but we are as well uploading a file, so we need to pass in request.files. Now we need to check the validity of the form. So to do that, we need to say if form.is valid, and then if it's valid, we need to save that form. So we say QR code equals to form.save, but the commit will be false. So commit equals to false. And then we need to clean that data that is being uploaded. So we'll say QR code dot image. Remember our form, we passed in the field that we require to be uploaded is the image. So we say QR code dot image equals to form dot cleaned data, and then we pass in that image field. Okay, so we are cleaning that image field, that data that being uploaded, and then now we save. Once we clean it, we need to save. So QR code dot save. Okay, now we need to decode that QR code that has been uploaded. So to decode it, we need to get that content. So we'll say QR code dot content equals to, we need now to use that function, this function, to decode it and then place that decoded objects inside our content field so that it can be returned as a result to the user. So we need to say decode QR code and then pass in the path. So the path will be file path. So now here you can see we are passing the file path, but we need to get that file path. So to get that file path, we need to say file path equals to, we need to get the path of that image. We say QR code dot image dot path. Okay, so we are getting the path of that image. So our application will get that file path and then pass in that file path to our decode QR code function, and then the decoded objects will be placed inside the content field, right? So once we do that, we need to save now. We need to save this QR code. So we say QR code dot save, and then we need to return the results. So return render takes in the request. Now we need to return the template. So this template will be inside the scanner folder, and then the template name will be result.html, and then we need to pass in the context. Context is in form of a dictionary. We need to pass in a context QR code, so that will be a key and the value will be QR code. So that is if the form is valid. If the form is not valid, we need to return something. So we say else. We need to display the form. So we say form equals to QR code form, and then we need to return the form. So return render and say request, say scanner upload.html, and then we pass in the context. So our context here will be form. So we say form. That form will be our key and the value will be form. So once we do this, we need to create these templates. So let me close these files that I've opened here. So let me close all of them. Now we need to create these two templates. So the first template that we need to create, we go to templates folder. So remember we had configured our templates. So inside our templates, I need to create a folder called scanner, and then inside the scanner, that is where we'll create these two templates. So the first template, let it be result.html. Now let me create the boilerplate, HTML, and then inside our title and say QR code results. So here we need to show the results. So let me have the H1 first and say QR code results, and then we need to have to show the content of that result. So let me say P, and then let me have a strong content. So we want to show the results of that QR code scan, and then double column braces and say QR code dot content. And then we need to create a button that allows the user to upload the QR code again. But before we do that, we need to create that URL. So inside our scanner app, we need to create URLs. So we need to create a file called urls.py, and then inside that we need to say from Django.urls import path, and then we need to import the views. So from dot import views. Okay, so we need to create a URL pattern. So URL patterns equals to, okay, so we have path, then the empty string, and call in our function. So say views dot upload QR code, and then let's give it a name and say upload QR code. And then now we need to include this URL pattern inside the project patterns. So here inside our project URLs, we need to include this. So we need to import include function. So include, and then we need to include those app URLs here. So we say path, let's have empty string and say include, and then the app name scanner.urls. So once we do that, we can go back to our results. We want below here to have another link that allows the user to upload another image. So we'll say hypertext link and then pass in that URL and say URL upload QR code. And then inside here we say upload another. So this is our result template. This will show the results. Okay, you can see here we have the content where it will show, and then we have this hypertext link that allows the user to upload again. Now we need to create the form that helps the user to upload that image, QR code image. So let me close this. So inside our scanner folder, we need to create another file called upload.html. So upload.html, enter. So on the title here, we need to say upload, and then right below we need to have h1 saying upload the QR code image. Below we need to have the form, so say form. The form we need to have CSRF token used for security, so CSRF token, and pass in the field, so we'll say form dot as paragraph, and then we need to have a button say upload. So this button will have a type of submit, so type equals to submit. Once we do this, we need to define the method, so we say method equals to post, and then since we are uploading files, we need to have type, so we say enc type equals to multipart or form data, form not from, will be form data. Okay, so you must pass in this enc type, okay, because this when you are uploading a file, you need to set this enc type, okay, because it is a meme type of content that is submitted to the form, the server. Okay, so you must pass in when you are uploading files this. Without this, it will not, will have some issues. So let me run the server and see what we have gotten. So let me clear the terminal and say python manage.py run server model without either field attribute exclude. Okay, we have the issue with forms, so let me go back to the forms, QR code, fields, not fields, so these should be fields. Then let me try again. Nice. So let's go to 127. You open another one and say 127. You can see we have this. Now let's try to upload a QR code image. So click on choose file, and then this is our QR code. Select upload. You can see we are getting the content of that QR code. Okay, so this basically, you can upload any QR code and you will get the content just hidden in that QR code. So that is it for this video, guys. Please consider subscribing to this channel and also giving a thumbs up to this channel so that you can help me grow this community. Be part of the community by turning on the notification bell so that you don't miss anything whenever I upload. Thank you once again for watching.